Pandemic. What's up, man? Let me cut you off. Yeah, can you hear me? Yo, I can't hear you. Is your mic on? There you go. You was on mute. Hold on a minute. Oh, I can't hear you. Go out and come back in. Right now, I'm just waiting. Yo.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there you go. There you go.
All right.
Yeah. What's good, man?
What's good? What's good? What's good? I can't see your video though.
Yeah, I know there's a reason.
Okay, there's a reason
There's a reason in the city.
in the city. All right, there it is.
Yeah, man. What's good with you, man? How's everything going with you? How's your hump day going?
Man, talk about hump day. We got
Yeah.
a, we got a bunch of storms that came down through here, man, and man, it just wreaked havoc. Everything's crazy right now, trying to
You, you
close.
said you said desert storms?
No, well, I guess kinda. That was your little some storms in the desert.
Oh,
Yeah, you're right.
uh-huh. Desert storms.
There's a storm. That's the war you don't talk
Yeah.
about. Motherfuckers
weapons
waving
of
the flag.
weapons.
The enemy,
He got weapons of mass destruction.
the enemy waving the flag because they can't eat. They damn near almost starved. And they got smart. They start ripping their t-shirts. I never footage of that. That was a while back.
Yeah.
Waving the flag. They gave up because they couldn't eat.
He said, "Hey, you starving us. You starving us."
Most
Boy, it was
people
a
that
joy
most
head.
people that, yeah, there's a storm. Most people that got hit. And that was George Bush Senior.
Uh huh.
Uh, most people that got hit was friendly fire.
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
I thought we was more advanced than that. You didn't know where your own food was. I mean, you just popping news. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Anyway,
man.
that's a whole other subject. Whole other subject.
Yeah, it's a whole nother. But anyways, so we get right into it, man. We're talking about like how people are overcoming or trying to overcome the pandemic.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
how people there's still a lot of struggles out here. People are still afraid of the COVID. Each time they're talking about something new. Like with Johnson and Johnson, they just put out a report that at first they created a vaccine for the COVID. Then they say that they took that off because it was giving people issues with the Johnson
Oh,
Johnson. Keep
yes,
in mind.
serious blood clots, and that is a serious issue.
Exactly.
You get it
Right.
on the
So
lungs, the heart, yeah, the brain. Yeah, you're
right.
right.
So they had an issue with that. Then Johnson and Johnson they backdoor and said, well, this vaccine it can help with the Delta strand, the new um, the new virus that's out now. You know what I mean? Well,
Yeah,
it helps with that. So now they saying that. Well, like how do you create something that's never been created? How can you create a vaccine for something that's never even been heard of or that you've been prepared for? And now they're saying, giving reports out that the vaccine that Johnson just put out now is creating issues for the heart for the young people.
damn.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was
So
reading something about that causing
yeah,
causing I think what it was saying kind of on the basis of arrhythmias, which basically means your
right,
heart not
right,
beating
right,
right.
right. And keep in mind, this is the same company that's been lawsuits for giving women ovarian cancer with the
That's true.
Johnson and Johnson baby powder.
Okay. With that talc, yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And now that you bring it up, it was really ironic that, you would think a company like that that's in that kind of trouble will get somewhere and
Just
sit the fuck
just
down.
shut the fuck up.
No, these
Right.
motherfuckers was in a cave somewhere hiding out,
Right.
camouflage. These niggas like, it's almost like they knew 19 was coming. You did.
Right. Right.
And with all these lawsuits, you was bold enough to say, oh, we got a better vaccine. And you can tell that they was gearing more toward the hospitals because what gave them the edge was you can refrigerate our vaccine.
Right.
Where the old ones, they had to come froze. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So how fast they did this, come on, man. Like a star that's born fast and burn fast usually die fast.
Usually die fast.
Basic
Exactly.
astrophysics, right? So you could just tell, like, and hey, I just want to say this: none of us knew really what was going to come about this vaccine. So the people that did get affected
Hmm.
by the Johnson and Johnson, hate that happened.
Right.
Man, that's a terrible thing. Hopefully you recovered, you know. But for what the reports say, some people are saying they still not 100%. Now that's something.
Right. Right.
Still not 100%. Like some
Right.
people still can't smell it. It's like, what
I
the?
mean, I'm there. You know what I'm saying? I'm there. Like that time when it was just I never said anything about it. It was around the time last year. You know what I'm saying? That I caught the COVID. You know what I mean? I mean, I couldn't smell. I couldn't taste anything.
Yeah,
But even like now, even almost a year, how like when my allergies flare up, that's why I do that coughing because they're fleeing, and I've never had any issues with my lungs before.
yeah,
So I mean, I'm me being 44, like I got a okay, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, and I look at like the people that's around me. I've lost a lot of family members and friends.
yeah,
As a matter of fact, my god brother, he suffered a stroke, and BJ is one of the most healthiest dude we know. At
yeah. That's
47,
true. That's true.
suffered a massive stroke. You know what I mean? So it's just this thing, this
Hey,
pandemic, and then go ahead.
I tell you what. Um, this Pokemon named 19. It's what's really, in just my opinion, what's really tricky about this is they say that it supposedly is a mutation in the old mutation in the SCARS family, SCARS. Look that up.
The
Supposedly it's what,
SARS.
yeah, that's supposedly is
Right,
where the flu comes
right,
from,
right.
right? In the hospital, you write SARS, but in the hospital, we make jokes and call it scars. Yeah, it's not
Mm-hmm.
just the damage that the flu leaves. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and the number one thing of the flu is what really gets people in the red zone is it affects your respiratory system.
Exactly.
Okay, kind of similar to what this COVID was doing. It's 19. But what's really scary is we, the people, forget that if these are kinfolk, I'm just saying hypothetically, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the flu and 19 is
Mm-hmm.
kinfolk, you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Then what make us think that we're just going to be able to get shot one time and that's it when we have to get shot every year for the flu?
Right. Right.
Just throwing it out there.
Right.
I ain't
No, I
trying to
mean,
be
you have,
conspiracy, but
no, you absolutely correct. You know what I'm saying? The media portrays like, oh, well, everything is back to normal, but it's not.
yeah.
Everything is not back to normal. As a matter of fact, things are worse because you say that you have a vaccine, people can go back to work. The numbers is dying out. But okay, if that's the case, then why are there no participants in the Olympics in Tokyo? Why is there no participants? Because the COVID is rising again in Japan.
Well, I tell you this much, and that's those are good facts that you brought up. Um, I want to add to that by going on the flip side. If you was the government and this monster shows up at your door, there's a serious decision that you have to make.
Okay.
Do you reveal the fullness of this monster, or do you use some type of discretion so that you don't have mass? I mean, look at they use discretion. Let's just say, come on, our government is highly and elite, right? That's why we've
Okay.
been able to last this long. They knew the extent of this monster, but look what happened. Even when they use discretion, look what happened and how we behaved as human beings. I
Okay.
never thought I'd be so worried about if I'm gonna have something to wipe my ass. That was scary. I ain't gonna lie. I never thought that. I thought to myself, about man, I don't
Well,
know when
I
we get
think
away stuff.
I know,
We might have to
I
use a
know,
toothpick
I know, right? Like they
to
use a
wipe your
use a
ass.
bag, just use a bad towel and rewash that
Come on, man.
motherfucker.
It's something we never really worried about. It had most of us
Right.
thinking like, damn, shit, I hoard too. I mean, it's like, man, I never thought
Well,
like
the thing,
Y2K was totally different. It was they
right,
hoarded,
right, right,
but
right.
tissue and
Tissue,
it kept changing. Then
sanitizer,
ground beef, then sanitizer,
right,
then laundry.
bleach,
Like,
right. Well, I think, and
so what? How you think we would have behaved if they would just came to the podium and say, "Look here, man, this is some shit we can't deal with. It done jumped, it done skipped, it done evolved, and we're fucked." What do you think would have
well,
really happened to the public?
well, well. One thing I think, like I say once again, the media is full of bullshit because well, I'm trying to stop cussing, I guess, because on YouTube or whatever. Um, because they was already putting it out there, but the media was making fun of it. The coronavirus. They was educating us. If education would have been properly installed,
What do you mean by making fun of it? I'm just trying to get an
because
understanding.
I remember talking about the coronavirus. I just thought like damn, motherfucker drunk too much Coronas, too many beers. No, seriously, you know what I'm
And you
saying?
know what? And you know what? Because we didn't grow up in a country farm or into the industry of farming like
Hmm.
pigs, cattle, shit like that,
Hmm.
agriculture. We didn't
Hmm.
really know that COVID-19 is a old. The original form of it is old because the farmers
Hmm.
have been vaccinating their pigs and cows and chickens
Hmm.
for like thousands of years. When I
So
won't say thousands, I'm sorry, hundreds
no,
of years
right,
when the
right,
vaccine
right.
was able to be available. The COVID-19 is not a brand new thing, just like the flu ain't a brand new thing, right? These things are ancient, they're relics, right? And they
Hmm.
thrive on our human DNA. Now, what makes COVID-19 uh, deadly it's because for whatever reason, because I don't want to get to politics of that,
Mm-hmm.
but for whatever reason, it zoologized or it jumped to be able to affect human DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happened, well, who would have thought that we became our own contraction? And keep in mind, the
Mm-hmm.
movie for damn near what 20 years has been showing that they call it zombie, but usually
Outbreak.
it always
Outbreak.
starts with a outbreak, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it happens so fast that we don't have the resources or the plan or the knowledge to
Right.
rebound. But I will say this was stop me from being apocalyptic. And I remember in my early 20s, because that's kind of how we grew up.
Mm-hmm.
Heaven and hell, you're going to hell. That's apocalyptic, right? Do the research
Right.
on it. But anyway,
Right.
growing up like that and then getting the knowledge, getting the wisdom, learning more things, getting around people, you know what I'm saying, learning. And so then I just started looking through the history, and what I realized is every time an apocalyptic thing seems to come that should eliminate us, we adapt. Like this is something like really is it true what was said on the Matrix? I think it was the second one when John Smith looked at Neo and he said, "You human beings are like a virus,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just consume." Is it that our fight for life to consume? Think about it, man. We this wasn't just something that happened on one planet. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, on one continent. This is something that
Right.
spread it. This one I knew was serious
Mm-hmm.
when the Olympics got canceled. Nigga, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I got worried
Mm-hmm.
because the Olympics, if you do your history, if I'm not mistaken, has never been canceled since BC.
Never.
Since
Never.
BC.
Never.
And when the
I mean,
Olympics got
we talk
canceled,
about they'd have wars, World War II, Jesse Owens in the war. I mean, you know, what I'm saying Rome, and so you're right. You know, there has never been council. But see, but the thing, what I said, it like you said, there's two great points that you made. Excuse me. One is our government, and two, the 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 post-apocalyptic or the pre-apocalyptic. One I take from it is when you say that about the government. So how look at politics is not a number. It's two things that politics is, and that's green and that's white. You know what I mean? You got to protect the green and you got to protect the white because if that's the case, remember when Ebola broke, they didn't have no problem. They didn't have no problem. Boom, put it out there.
that shit was scary.
There was no problem. There was no problem of them trying to get a hold of that. They was trying to
2 hours.
grab the masses, like you say, the zoology of it. Once it came from Africa, it's like, oh, no, shut everything down, shut the word down. The world, what is it? The WHO. You know what I'm saying? The World Health Organization. Shut it down. Shut it. They got a hold of it, and they kept it to one continent. Don't bring that shit over here. The politics of it, because uh the the previous president, not Trump. The Come on, man, come on, Bailey. Obama. So Obama had everything in place in plan because his administration was they were intelligent. So okay, these are the diseases that's out there. You know, they wrote a movie called The Conjuring. Well, you remember when Matt Damon was in there, and his wife, she came from overseas. She stayed with a guy, and they brought it over. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole everything had shut down. And Lawrence Fishburne was there. If you haven't seen it, or if y'all have never seen it, please go see The Conjuring. and it's pretty much the coronavirus. And
I
then
tell
you
you what.
said,
Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I tell you what. Since you brought that up, that was a very good point. It made me also think that if you really think about it, it showed you the evolution of the jump off of 19.
Mm-hmm.
It was totally different from the old shit. The old shit was
Mm-hmm.
that usually it's contracted through some type of food product,
Mm.
right?
A pig or a cow or a
You know,
bird or
some
right,
lettuce went bad or a bunch of
right, 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 right.
it's usually
Tomatoes and stuff.
yeah. So to look at how we behave with that, we were so used as a human race to do that all over the fucking world, right?
Mm-hmm.
All over the globe.
Right.
And then when this happened, and it just, just like the movies, it just pandemic. See, an
Right.
epidemic
Mm.
is where you can
Yep.
you can locate the epicenter, right?
Right.
Ground zero. Like when an
Right.
earthquake happens, you gotta locate the epicenter of it, right? The most damage. A pandemic is an epicenter that just keeps happening and it moves north, south, east, and west, right? It happens so fast, so vast, so aggressive that even your governments have to kind of, they slide a little bit trying to come up with a contingency plan. Now, I can't see my man right now. I think he's going to get some water, but just saying that's a good point that he brought up that when you talk about it, I tell you one thing, it really showed how social we are. That's really what this 19 thing showed. It showed how social we are. And watch this. This is funny. And because we are that social, we automatically reverse some of the natural things we grew up with, right? Watch this.
Right.
Don't get in a car with a stranger.
Right.
Now, one of the number one business is getting in the car with a stranger. It's called Uber.
Stranger. It's called Uber. Called Lyft. Yep.
They say drive through is the worst thing you ever do in your life. It became the number one and only goddamn transit
Right.
of your favorite fast foods, right?
Right. Right.
So the one thing that I want to say that this COVID-19 did is 19 showed, and that's what I mean by the evolution. Nothing's going to be the same. You're absolutely right on that.
Right.
But our
Right.
adaptation is going to take us to another level.
Okay. And when you said another level, what level? Because we right now, like I always say, that the pandemic became a allowed social media to be a more powerful guide. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With the pandemic, like there's, like I said, one time I was talking. There's 2 points. One was how I feel like that when in March, once I left my company, my job to start working from home, I feel like Thanos snapped his finger. Or those Infinity Stones, like everything just had to balance itself out. You know what I'm saying? We talking about. I mean, if you pay attention, you remember back in the, I mean, if you really pay attention, if you look outside, how many birds and flocks do you see now? Remember, just 5 years ago, you would see. I mean, even in the winter or the summer, you would see like flocks of birds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Flying in the sky. You would see pictures. You walk downtown and you see pigeons. He kicking pigeons, get out the way. You know what I'm saying? But now he's just like, there's no pigeons.
Well, I tell you what, it's funny that you brought that up. Very valid point. I mean, when you think about that, birds have like some.
I mean, like I'm just saying, like have you seen animals like dog? Have you just seen like stray dogs and alley cats and you know what I mean? Have you seen like just
you might be on a strong point that now that we're pumping more radiation in the air,
Right.
that um, it's affecting the animals that use certain electromagnetic fields. They can see it,
Yeah.
like birds.
Yes.
That's how they're able to navigate. You can check me on that. But birds, and it's a huge amount of different breeds of birds, and some um, deer and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
that can see the magnetic field of the earth. And if they can see the magnetic field, then it makes you wonder if they can see these powerful low mid range frequencies. Now let's keep in mind that you can check me on this. That when they was first experimenting with this low mid range, right?
Mm-hmm.
Keep in mind that electricity plays at a range in our house at 60 hertz. If you read your electric card, it'll tell you that, right? 60 hertz is the frequency of the electricity most of the time in our house. Now, our the Department of Defense was experimenting with these things,
Mm-hmm.
low mid-range frequency, because they wanted to be able to map out space and also experiment with this with the ocean. So they started using these powerful low mid-range waves or frequencies, right? And if you
Okay.
remember, there was some years where we would notice where there was whales, just huge whales washing up on the shore.
Right. 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 I remember that.
Then
I
they got
mean,
them
yeah,
great
like the right the they was the blue humpback whales.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Yeah.
because they use clicking almost like the way a
Mm-hmm.
bat does. Because you got to think a well can go so deep that there is no sunlight, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they use clicking, and they can see a full picture like bats in a sonar like way. And they notice, and you can look this up. They noticed that when there was certain experiments going on with sonic weaponry,
Mm-hmm.
that it fucked the whales up. Like it really did. Like you can look this information up. Like, and so this low mid range, all I've got to say is it's not brand new.
Right.
We've been experimenting with this and all around the world. And so, of course, it brings the question: how much radiation are we really pumping through the air now?
Right.
Now, keep in mind, I'm a product of 5G. But if you go
Oh
back,
man, that's a very good point.
I'm a product of 5G. But if you go back and you look up each generation, if you rewind and go back, it is, if I was to be a lawyer, it is a coincidence that per every generation, technically, there was some type of pandemic that happened.
Right.
From the Spanish flu to other things that happened, right? And it was always when the technology of radio waves was finna amp up more power, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then boom, here we go. From 1G to 2G to 3G to 4G to 5. If you go back and just investigate, I'm not saying go back and try and point fingers. I'm just saying just investigate on just these coincidences, right? There was
Right.
always some type of pandemic when they wanted to boost the power. You got me?
Right.
Hey, come on, man. Why they want to boost the power? They want to boost the power because of us, our demand. Every time they give a technology, we master that bitch in like 6 months, right? And used to
Right.
work in tech deal. Like technology now is like what 3 to 6 months now, and then it's old.
Right.
That's fast, dude. Like that
Yeah.
demand is unreal.
And I have 5G on my phone, and it's like, I mean, even when I do my hotspot on anything, it's like, well, why am I paying for Wi-Fi and I'm paying for a cell phone bill, and it's like the megahertz and the speed pretty much does the same thing. Like I
It's
turn
unbelievable. It really is.
because well, one, see, I don't have cable. That's one. So I have the Fire Stick and everything. And so I tested it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, well, let me test this 5G or this hotspot speed. versus, you know what I'm saying, my internet. And B, when I tell you, man, it may be probably just like a milliseconds off. I'm like, I'm paying almost
And that's still
$70.
that's still low latency. Low latency. You think about it.
Man, I
So
mean, I'm
that's
talking about,
to
and
be
I mean
that much
the
data.
speed for the speed of the hotspot is just like boom, and it's like racing. It's just a race with my internet provider, which is AT&T. I'm like, damn, like they give me 15 free megs. I mean, gigabytes of hotspot, and I don't watch a lot of TV. I do my work on my laptop, or whatever. But I'm like, why am I paying for Wi-Fi again? But it goes to a point that you said. I remember when this first happened. I remember coming home from work. I remember coming home from work. This was last year. It was around March when this thing first happened. And you made a comment. You say, Jay, you gotta check. You gotta be careful of all these 5G towers that's going up right now. And you said something because I remember watching last year. I could hear birds last year. In the daytime, chirping in the daytime. The only time I really hear birds now, and just like a few, is at night. But I remember last year, I would see birds. Go to the park, see birds flying over and everything, and ducks and everything, pigeons. And now it's like like you said, the nature. Like, okay, so let me ask you a question. So you know what I'm saying? Has nature actually given up on us?
Wow, that's
Have
I
Mother
like that
Nature
question. I like that question.
has
Hold
Mother
on.
has
Let me
Mother Nature given up on us? Yeah, go ahead.
give him a drink right quick. Uh, I like that question. Now, to add on to that question, if you look at just the evidence down through the history of mankind, right?
Okay.
It boggles my mind that we are still the youngest mammal species on planet Earth
Mm-hmm.
compared to every other mammal, right? We're like 200 some thousand years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever happened, it happened. It
Mm-hmm.
increased the evolution. And that's why I was saying, that's why I like that question you asked. Is Mother Nature done with us? No. I tell you what, we keep evolving. Why? Because I think Mother Nature is teaching us. Now, this is the thing.
Okay. Okay.
I remember an old professor, uh, powers that be, we had a mutual relationship and
Mm-hmm.
it paid me a little bit. No, it actually paid me pretty good. Read
Mm-hmm.
between the lines. And every time we would have this relationship and have our meetings, he go to talking. And so I learned a lot from him. He was an astrophysicist. And he said, nature is neither for us or against us.
Mm-hmm.
We must
Okay.
learn to work with it
Mm-hmm.
because it was here before us. And it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Like nature was here before us. It is the ultimate governor besides gravity. Keep in
Yeah.
mind, gravity is only the shit on Earth,
Right.
right? Nature exists even in space. You got me? So,
Yeah. Which
so when you think about is nature against us, then if nature was against us, it could have already eliminated us
right. I got you.
like a long time ago. Like it would have been nothing for nature to fully just say, I'm done with them, right? Now it seemed like that there's certain things like when you go back, and you look at these certain hidden civilizations, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
Atlantis and even at that crate. Check this city out. It's in some sea by Japan. It's bananas. Like there's an underwater city that was built
Okay.
like BC, right?
Okay.
And it has these huge steps, and this is where they believe that giants lived, right?
Right.
It was bananas, right? On the islands of Japan. Check that out. But
Right.
anyway, when you look at these badass civilizations back then, there's some kind of way there was some natural disaster that buried
Took
them.
them out.
Just
Right.
buried them. Wow.
Right.
Even when you talk about Pompeii, it makes me wonder about Pompeii. It makes me wonder. They say Pompeii was a bustling, advanced city, right? And a lot was lost when that volcano went off,
Mm-hmm.
right? The pyroclasmic cloud that came down, moving that damn near almost 500 miles an hour, it cooked everything,
Right. Right.
right?
Right.
And when you go through history, this is the thing. That's why I like your question. Nature never really bumped us off. It was like the movie Dante Peak at different locations. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It was like, okay, it's a certain number of y'all that I got to try. And nature is the ultimate balancer. Let's just say that. What you said earlier.
I like that. Okay.
It's the
That's
ultimate
very
balance.
valid. It's a
Keep in
balance of
mind,
earth.
keep in mind, I think
So
that there's an estimate that planet Earth, and I'll leave it alone, planet Earth, when they did the schematic, I think it was back in the 80s.
mm,
They did a study and they said, okay, with the way we consume the resources on planet Earth,
mm,
what is the estimated number of the world's population? The world
the
population.
world.
And they said, if I'm not mistaken, max around 11 billion. Now check me on this, look this up. Around 11
Okay.
billion humans will max out all the resources of planet Earth, right?
11 billion.
11 billion. Now,
I think we're close to that. I think we're at 8 or 9 right now.
we're like 8 or 9 billion and growing. Like
Right.
it goes back to the question. That's why I like the question you asked. Is nature against us? Come on, look at the numbers. Some kind of way nature is teaching us. And even when things seem to be apocalyptic to where it seemed like this is doomsday,
It
it
has to
seems
balance
like
itself
that the
out.
scripture that was said, no man, I think it was Christ, that said, no man knows the hour nor the day when the end will be.
Right. Right.
Remember, he was saying in there that he said that there's going to be many that's going to say the end is coming.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing's going to happen. So
Mm-hmm.
it's maybe what he was spitting was a Gnostic view of how powerful nature is. And okay, and I stopped talking because I just
No, that's why we're
go
here.
ahead.
That's why we're creating. That's you can't stop talking. That's why we have our own page. I mean, this is our talk show. You know what I'm saying?
You instigated this. You instigated this.
I mean, of course, this is ours. This is something, one, I just want to say thank you for being a
Topics.
part
I
of this,
tell you,
man.
hot topics. I tell you.
Hot topics, man. Like I say,
We can go.
this is our platform. You know what I mean? This is what we're building. This is where we're getting out to the people. Whether they love it or like it, whatever. It doesn't matter to me because we're speaking our truth.
Salute.
You know what I mean?
I agree with
Yeah.
that.
So we're speaking our truth, because so many times growing up, if we would have this platform 20 years ago, I
Oh,
think that we would have killed the game. You know what I mean?
yep.
We would
Yeah,
have
I
killed this
agree.
game because,
But
and it
I tell
just,
you what, though, I tell you what, we still would have needed a pandemic. Let's just be
yeah,
honest, because the way
yeah,
this thing it did horrible shit, right?
right,
But
right,
the way that it showed us how social we are, you can just tell a difference now when you go out. You can just tell the places
right,
that allow. You can just tell how nicer people are, how more patient they are. And then you get in the car and
right, right,
like the violence starts in the car now. It's no longer
right,
where you just mean
right.
mugging. Like we're so happy now to be social.
Amongst each other, right,
Right.
right. I remember saying one time how the world, the very thing, that the creator gave us as people, like it was taken away. And when I say that, emotions, greetings, love,
Gotcha.
hugs, handshakes, the very thing that the Creator
Affection.
gave to affection to mankind. You know, because like I always say, for me, it always go back to what the Creator has done. Because I would say, like this week or this month period has been one of the hardest month that I can go through as a man.
Wait. Let me ask you this, because you have said this like two or three times, and I like the way you put this. I want you to expound
Mhm.
on
Expound.
expound on what you're saying when you say the creator. Let the folk know what you're talking about when you say the creator. You said that like two or three times. Go.
Well, yeah, because how can I equal myself to a God when He already made us God?
Ooh. Ooh.
How can I level myself to something or someone that's beyond me and call them God? I don't call him God no more. He's Allah the great creator.
Gotcha. I
I'm
got you.
God. You're God. Just because just because King James or the NIV says thou shalt, well first of all, Greek don't speak thou. You know what I mean? The Hebrew language does not speak art. Thou art of the
Right.
covenant. No.
That's Shakespeare. Yeah. Hebrew is more hard language, as they call it. One of the
Right.
worst subjects. Yeah, you're right.
It's one
They
of
don't
the
have
most
adjectives and pronouns and things like that.
right. Right. The English language has see the like I tell people, or I told my son the other day, the Hebrew language does not have rules to the language. The English language is the only thing that has rules and regulations and boundaries of how you speak.
To
And
add
that
on to
was
what you're saying,
because
that uh, most relic languages did have some form of a guideline, which you could say rules, right? But it was not expandable. So that's why the archaeologists and the historians call them hard languages, right?
right,
These old
the reason
relic
I say that the
they
reason
were
I say
more
that
straightforward.
right, and well the reason I say that is not to cut you off, but if you pay attention to the Islamic word or the Hebrew word, anything, it was never about how you said it. I mean, it was never about what you said, it was how you said it. Your actions was presented. Now here the English word is about like ounces. Well, how do we get OZ from ounces and it's spelled OU? You know what I'm saying? C, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
How do we say, well, they have a battery case? You got a battery case and you got batteries. There's two different words.
right.
Well, I need batteries. Well, you need more than one battery to beat a woman. You got BATTERY.
And,
Rather why?
and that's crazy that you bring that up, because what it does is it shows us
And
that
it's batteries. It's not batteries. It's batteries.
it's crazy when you talk about the English language and when you talk about synonyms and antonyms and all that shit, and the grammar, which I call like putting math to grammar or putting math to writing. When you talk about the expandability of English, then if you look up these words and you start connecting them, right? You start noticing that they just by their usage start becoming synonyms to each other. When you talk about battery law wise, and when you talk about battery mechanically, is it all comes down to that it is a source that makes something happen, right? So when you look at that, it's funny that you say that, because you're absolutely right. But then that's what makes the English language so tricky is how, for instance, something I was teaching my son, who's in his fourth year in college, to get his like working on his master's degree in business. I was telling him, I
big, big, big shout out to Barbara Keith Hawkins the third. Big shout out to Keith.
Trey. But
Trey
appreciate that.
Trey
But
already.
one thing that I was explaining to him is, if you go back and you look at words that you use, You notice that some words we use them as adjectives when they're actually nouns.
Right.
We use some words as verbs when they're actually adjectives.
Adjectives. We don't understand pronoun versus adverbs or
Or we
preverbs.
reverse
Oh,
it. We
right.
will use the pronoun as an adverb. You know, be like
Right.
that's the expandability of the English language. And of course, it had to have some ramifications. It had to have some rules, right? Or you could just double dribble all over the court all goddamn day. But
Right.
I'm just saying it makes sense why the English language is one of the hardest um, to catch on to because
Right.
there's so
Well,
many what we call slang. There's so many different ways of using
I think I was I think one of the hardest is Korean. Is it Korean?
it. They say Japanese. That's what they say.
Japanese. Right. Japanese. Japanese is you're like oh you're like oh you like so I'm missing a duck. You know what I mean?
I
It
tell
just
you,
it's just
one of the most it's one of my favorite cultures to study. Um, you know, it is something how advanced they were for so long. When you
right.
talk about BC, how the language came about, and how when you go to the katana sword, how they came about their gunpowder. Some of the things they was doing with gunpowder was like alien. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's just, and they come from they're a warrior culture, so that's why their language is like raw and hard and rough and loud. You know what I
Powerful.
mean? Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, and no wonder anime took off. And we talking about just the Asian community, period.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
going back to the point of the pandemic. Don't want to get too off of it. So you're in New Mexico. How have your state adjusted to the financial benefit? Because I know I'm gonna get a lot of backflack on this, man. I am. I'm gonna get a lot of backflack on this, but I feel as an entrepreneur and somebody that has their own business and everything, I kind of have some regrets for voting for Biden.
Okay, I think.
One thing I literally just had this conversation yesterday. I said one thing that I can appreciate about Trump. You knew who Trump was before he got in office. You know what I'm saying? You know he was a bigot. You know he was a self-centered asshole. You knew that he was about Trump and Trump only. His last name, and which is important because your last name is important to you. Your last name has to be important. Hawkins has to be important because that's your legacy. Bailey has to be important. I have to fight. We have to fight for our last name, no matter what. White, black, Asian, whatever. Your last name matters, and that's the legacy that we have to create. But I will say this, man. In the 4 years with Trump, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I made more money in those 4 years that I did. It's about you know what I'm saying. But
We
other
all
than music, whatever.
we
But
all
like financial business and economic, you know what I'm saying. And I mean, even with this pandemic, I mean, here this guy, he gave black people. I mean, just people. Period. He gave them 3 stimulus checks. Like here, take that money, take that.
take that.
But then Biden, the Democrats get in office. Now it's like we're back to square one.
Now, I would say this. This is my opinion, and I appreciate your courage. A lot of people didn't understand that this covalent voting, that I call it.
Hmm.
Look that word up, you'll get what I'm saying. This covalent voting started happening, it seemed like all the way back from George Bush Jr., right? When you talk about we're not aware of your power, which means that we're not aware of what you represent. Now, this is what I mean by this. If you go down through the history of the presidency, well, no, that's too far back. If you just start at George Bush Sr., right, and you just look up the behavior of sociology of when a Republican is a president and when a Democrat is a president, right?
Well, you got to go even further back than that. I mean, I say because they named it Reaganomics, Ronald Reagan. And keep in mind that George Bush Sr. was the vice president to Ronald Reagan.
I mean, true. What you're explaining is the dynamics of position. I'm just saying in who they represent, the elephant
Okay.
or the donkey, right? So I'm
Okay.
just saying,
Okay. Okay. So say that once again. So
so if you go back through the history of that's too far back. I just said if you start where I just kind of simplified it. If you start at
okay.
George Bush Sr., right, Republican,
Okay.
there's a certain pattern. I'm gonna bring that pattern up. There's a certain pattern, right? And then you go to a Democrat, there's a certain pattern. And then you go
Hmm.
back to a Republican, there's a certain pattern. The
Right.
pattern of Republicans only stopped with Trump. Now, I'm going to blow your mind when I'm going to say this because it blew my mind when it hit me. The whole key to politics, right, is assets, right?
Okay.
You don't have politics. You ain't got nothing to argue over if you ain't got no assets,
Okay.
resources, all money, capital, all that, right?
Right.
Repeat this. Most of the time, a Republican stimulates the economy with war. If you just go back and watch the pattern, most Republican presidents, rather it was forced or they had no choice, right? Some kind of
Okay.
way, they always end up in a situation where we
World
have to
War.
go to war. And it
Richard Nixon.
stimulates the
Richard.
economy.
Richard Nixon in Vietnam.
See what I'm saying? Good point.
I got
Now you go back to the Democrats. The Democrats were more like, we're not going to stimulate the economy with war. We'll stimulate it through the people.
you. Mm.
So if you notice that the only time you hear this is if you got rich friends, like rich friends.
Mm.
And you
Wow.
can always tell when it's voting season. You can tell when it's a Democrat that's going to go into office, just like it was when Obama looked like he was going to get it. You can hear rich people saying, man, they're going to stick dick to us. And you're like, what
Hmm.
the fuck? Oh, it's a Democrat. I make more
Right.
money on Republicans. Well, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
So when you and just check me on it, just go back and just find Da Vinci, find the pattern, and you'll notice that all the way, if you got enough time, go all the way back and then go all the way and just notice the pattern of every time a Republican we went into war, every time a Democrat, taxes were raised, war defense contracts were decreased. Now watch this.
Wow.
Watch this. This billionaire, this business dude
Hmm.
who had been trying to run for presidency for almost 20 years, if I'm not mistaken,
Hmm.
kept getting his butt kicked. I'm just gonna say he had to step down. He finally got the opportunity, right? Watch this. When it came time to where the economy, this is what we forget. Right before the stimulus checks and COVID-19, right? The
Hmm.
economy, remember they were saying the stock market is doing some crazy ass shit.
Right.
We forgot that. Like it's doing some crazy ass shit. It's dropping. There might be a possible depression that might be coming.
Right.
We forgot that, right?
Right.
Okay. We got a Republican president at that time. How do you stimulate the economy? Well, a lot of people in the seat they already was prepared. They was already in my mind. I'm imagining they was already setting contracts up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Who gonna get these hands? What country's
Right.
gonna get these hands so we can get paid?
That's a good point.
What
Amazon.
he does the reverse, and he goes into the Federal Reserve and threaten that if he don't get this, he'll just automatically override them as the commander in chief
Right.
and get it through the reserves, which
Right.
comes from the people, us.
Wasn't right.
And that was a bold move. I was like, man, that's the kind of stuff
That was, man.
they
That
can make
was.
disappear. Like that's not only he did it once, he did it again. So
Did it 3 times.
it makes
Well,
you
twice.
wonder, it makes you wonder that we can think about the action of the human, or let's think about the system. Evidently, this system was called something else that has happened in the past. This stimulus check style type of shit, right?
Right.
If you look at it, but I don't think that it was at a point where a Republican president did it. You know what I'm saying? So when Biden, when Biden and when the Democrats,
Not to cut you off, but you remember when George Bush Jr., he gave out those checks. You know what I mean? He gave out those $1,200 checks. 'Cause I remember I was living in Irving. I mean, we was in Irving. You know what I'm saying? And they got that $1,200 check right after 9/11.
There you go again.
But like you say,
think about that.
It went to war.
Right. We forget, all of us that lived through 9/11, on our soul,
right,
this was a declaration of war.
Declaration of war.
This was a declaration of war. Like you was getting assistance because of the shutdown and what this thing did to the economy. Right. So
you speaking that, man.
I'm glad you said that. That's a good point. The stimulus check is what I call compensation checks. Right.
I like that.
Keep bringing it. That's what most of us are saying. Now we're really like, bring more of it. I'm a victim.
Right.
More. But keep in mind, it's got to keep happening. The only difference is we're going to get taxed on it if it's a Democrat in there. That's all I'm saying. If it's a Democrat in there, they're going to let us have our stimulus, smaller portions, right? And then they're going to tax us on it. Because look at what he said. He said, we're going to fix, basically, my paraphrasing, we're going to take this money and put it toward the infrastructure of America.
Right.
What's the infrastructure of America? You talking about bridges, sewer systems, bus stations? Really? I mean, this is more money. Like, we can take just a little portion of this money,
right,
and build an infrastructure.
Right.
So where's the treasure trove? Where you putting the rest?
Wow.
See, all right, there you go. See, you play too much.
Wow. Big shout out, man. Hey, man, I got to salute to you on that one, man. You know what I'm saying? The drink champs. Salute to the big champs, the drink champs and everything. But hey, man, I give you a props on that one, brother. That was real talk right there, man. That's the powers that be, because it reminds me.
I'm gonna go get some more. Keep talking.
Yeah, no, you go ahead. You're good. But yeah, man, live with Stein, man. We're talking about the how did the COVID affect you? You know what I'm saying? Did it affect you negatively or positively? You know what I mean? So that's the thing. You know, we want our people to flourish as who we are. Like, what did we learn from that? Me personally, I learned that the fact that we have to own the land. We have, like, America has a sign. America has a sign up right now that says for sale. America is for sale. There's land. There's so much land to be bought. There's acres that need to be bought.
That's
You
true.
know, farmers are they're instead of buying land and you know, I look at Rick Ross, I look at Meek Mills, I look at Plies, I look at these rappers. So going to the music, transition to the music, I look at these rappers and they're buying acres of land. They're not buying cars anymore, you know. Excuse me. Yeah, they're not buying cars anymore. They're not buying jet jet planes and fuel and all this and that. They're buying land. They're buying acres of land, 20, 30 acres of land. Rick Ross said, yo, you know what I'm saying? I'm saving $1 million because I'm doing my own tractor. Boss. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? Rick Ross got out there by himself and he you know what I'm saying, he bought some tractors and he's tractor his own acres. This man is saving $1 million from paying other people. He got there himself and sweating and everything. Kwame Brown. Shouts to Kwame, Bust Life. You know what I'm saying? Go check them out. These are self-made millionaires. They're going and buying tractors and clearing their own land. Trades.
yeah.
You know, me for me, I'm a licensed plumber and everything. Have I used it in years? No, I haven't. But now I'm getting back to it. You, man, you like I said, man, I always brag on you because like I tell people, man, this guy here, man, he like when I used to hear you sing, man, people know when I say this. I said at one point Byron was like the male Beyonce. Like his vocal arranges, his. I've
Listen,
never heard nobody go ahead.
you put a lot of pressure, man. You put a lot
It's
of
not
pressure.
pressure. It's not pressure.
They'll be. I think you
It's
put
not.
a lot of pressure. I didn't think you would say that on the show. I thought there was something between me and you, but I didn't think you was gonna say that before the show.
Well, I mean, I got to give you your props, bro. Well, then we drinking and everything, so you know what I mean. But for me, you was like the male Beyonce. Like I heard, D'Angelo. I remember listening. You like, bro, check this out. You like, listen to this, and you will break down D'Angelo's harmony. D'Angelo, he had no background singers. You know, he didn't have anybody else to do anything. D'Angelo did was what is called a four-part harmony. You're my lady. You're my lady. Boom,
Yeah,
boom, 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 boom,
then
boom. Then JoJo, I mean, before then, and nobody challenged JoJo. JoJo doing a five-part harmony. Like, goddamn. All my life.
it was still a classic.
You know what I'm saying?
They still play that.
5-part harmony.
Yeah.
And then you were back though. You would do like I'm gonna challenge that. You was doing a 6-part harmony. I'm like,
I mean,
what?
that was just fun to see if it was gonna even work, and
I ain't
it
never heard
actually
nobody do a 6-part harmony.
it actually did. It was a lot of work. Let me put that to you, ladies and gentlemen. It was a trophy that was not waiting on me once I got done. It was like, man, that was a lot of work. Can it
Right.
happen? Yes, it can. But I will say that is the beautiful thing about music and how it. A lot of people when they talk about music, they talk about how it transcends and all this. I just think that music is the perfect lover.
Mm,
That's just me.
right.
Like it don't matter if you're a female and fall in love with music, it can be whatever it is for you. Or if you're a male that falls in love with music, it can be whatever for you. Like it's such an even playing,
Right.
especially with technology. So I don't
Right.
want to I don't want to knock the producers that don't know how to play. They have no
Right.
type of musicianship about themselves,
Right.
except mentally, and they're able to still translate that in. if it's just drag and drop, pushing samples, you know,
Right.
pro innovation is innovation. If the
Right.
track is hot, the track is hot. And in
Yeah,
most
they
cases,
just hot.
if it's hot, it's hot. Now we had to get out of that, right? We had to get out of that certain format
Right.
of how you're supposed to follow making music. Excuse me. If we wanted this thing to expand, we had to accept technology. We had to.
Right.
And you remember, just like I do, as many hours we spent in the studio, we kind of saw it coming. It was like almost every year there was more technology being introduced in the studio.
Right.
And then you think you got it, and then next thing you know, you go to a studio again. It's like next year, like, oh man, this is the latest of the greatest. Like, what? God, and it just kept coming. It just kept coming. It was like, man. But I really do respect. It does show that no matter how fast technology get, you can never duplicate live.
Oh.
We found that out during
So,
football season when they tried to play that fake ass crowd noise, like we was gonna be confused.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we would be
Yeah.
like, oh, what is that sound? It sounds like the
Right.
crowd. Is it really them? No, it's cardboard cutouts. Oh man, but it sounds so real. Come on,
Right.
man. That wasn't gonna fool us. So
Right.
to get back to the live, I think that nothing can duplicate that human voice.
No, nothing. Being because for some reason we always come back to music. You know what I'm saying? With music, and I think that's gonna be our platform as far as this music thing. You know what I mean? Because we've been in it for years. We was birthed in this music.
Definitely was birthed in this music, and definitely in a point to where I know most people might say, well, they ain't put out no platinum shit. Yeah, but if you find us and you listen to our shit, you'll hear it and say, okay, these niggas was doing some shit. And it ain't just us. All over the world, if you look at it, there's plenty artists out there that is platinum status, but don't have either the will, the demand, or the courage to say, I'm just going to sign my rights over to an organization. Because if you sign your rights over to an organization, notice I didn't say label. You sign your rights over to your music organization, they gonna make way more money than you with. That's why it's big ups and pride moments to the artists that all across the board that was able to have the freedom to create. They worked their way up, did a couple of albums. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And boom, now they got creative rights, and now they're taking that to a
Right.
whole other level and monopolizing their sound.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. 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 It's a good word right there, man. So, um, as an interviewer, you know what I'm saying, I just try to make sure that my guest is always comfortable. And I mean, right, first of all, you're not a guest, so you're one of the co-hosts on this and as well. I'm a co-host, you're the co-host um, for Hot Topics.
I appreciate
Um,
it.
no,
Salute.
man, I appreciate. Salute. I want people to understand that the fact that so going back to one of the points that you had brought up, and I want to get back into it about the creator. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get too far from, and I'm gonna transition. I'm transition the conversation into music. Um, One thing that I really enjoy, you know what I'm saying, and because so let me say this, and I'm gonna be real with our people. I'm gonna be real with our constituents, with the people that we know,
Big word.
because as black men, you know what I'm saying, we're always talked about, so whatever you go through, like I had a conversation with my son. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say conversation. Uh, one moment, me and my son, we kind of had some misunderstanding or whatever. Because I call my son soft, right? Excuse me. So I called my son soft, and he was like, "Well, Dad, what do you want me to be? I'm not selling dope. I'm not here selling any streets and everything. My journey is not your journey." And as a matter of fact, my son said this. He said that you 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 worked hard enough. You and mom worked hard enough, so I can be soft, and it made sense because we grew up in an era where it was like in the '70s and '80s, like rap, like we talking about NWA, Easy E,
Yeah.
Dr. Dre. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy late 80s and crazy 90s. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Like we went to school with dope man Nikes on. I remember David
Everybody we
Fisher.
knew was thinking.
Big shout out to David Fisher. I remember he when he got married to his wife, Sister Freedom. You know what I'm saying? Um, what's her name? Annette Freedom.
Oh, we tried. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
I remember going to his wedding. You know, he invited me. We was there because you was there, I was there. Told everybody. We was youngest. But bro, like I went to his wedding in Starch jeans and dope man Nikes. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because that was our culture. That was who we were. We weren't about fanny packs and you know and you know, bro. We talk about Cedric Shed, the Shed brothers. You know what I'm saying? We grew around. We grew around, or we was around gangsters.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said it earlier. Everybody we knew was they was banging.
Right, right. They were men, and like even my Uncle Leon, and brother Ronnie, and these individuals, like they never stood on the shoulders of other men. You know, and I think that's why when I told my son, like, yo, you soft because I feel like that you standing on the shoulders of other men. You know what I mean? You can't do that. So my point I'm trying to get to is with this pandemic, with this with the young generation and this new music, how do you feel about like what's going on right now?
Are you talking about musically?
Just
Oh,
period,
you
just in
talking
general,
about
as
period.
a man. Yeah, just period as a man.
As a man, I think that the ball has been recovered. That's just me.
It's being
I would
recovered.
say that I think that the ball, if I was to talk football wise, the ball has been recovered. And what I mean by
Okay.
that is um, our generation, something happened and the men fumbled. For whatever reason, most of us grew up without a real dad. It was either
Mm,
daddy,
mm.
grandpa, because we came up posteriorly to the crack age where our moms and our dads were
Right,
strung out, right?
right.
So it was our aunts and our aunties and grandmothers, the
Grandmothers
babies,
and you're
kids,
right.
no matter what race you go through, that's what race does. So when you talk about that, well, I mean, just the way we went about it, I think was just a mistake of survivability. And like I like what you said. You said it was our culture, and when you are deep into a culture, you don't really know you're deep into it. I guess that's the
Right,
catch. If you in love, if you deep in love, then you really don't know how far in you are, right?
right.
So we was kind of just deep into the culture, but let's say this: fast forward to our sons and our daughters,
Hmm.
and because of their culture, they have a whole other deal. Well, all I say is don't give up. Another professor used to teach me, that was another one of my clients back in the day. He used to say, history never repeats itself. He said it rhymes.
Mm.
He said it's impossible for time mathematically to
Right.
repeat exactly the same. So that's
Right.
why he said, therefore, if history doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes.
Right.
Very similar and it rhymes. So when I think about that, I say, well, okay, when I think about our generation and think about their generation, right? And that's why I say the fumble. I think now we, and I'm saying men, of course,
You're right.
I'm a black man, and I
Right.
know, the dice is always rolling against us to hit snake eyes. So I'm gonna say first black men, and then also including the rest of the world who's doing it just along with us, every other race. I'm meeting more single fathers. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Than ever before, even more than our generation we grew up. So that's what I mean by the ball has been recovered. I'm saying that the fumble of the lack of fatherhood, that there's more of that happening now. Now
Facts.
that's not a sexy
Facts.
pick. That's not a sexy pick only in the media. Because if you were just to ask your homegirl or ask your sister or whatever, and you ask you say, how do you feel about a guy that's, he got his kids and he's a single father and he's handling his business? A lot of them will say, I think that's sexy.
Right.
So he said, okay, so you talk to a lot of women, and I would say a good number of your female friends will say, if I see a dude handling his business and he's a father, he's a good dad, I think that's sexy. Then why isn't it a sexy pick? It's because of the media and the powers that be, and that's a whole nother segment. But if that makes sense, what I'm saying, that I see recovery. You know what I mean? That's what I see. I see that we finally picked up the ball and we're scoring touchdowns as fatherhood. You get what I'm saying? Even when you talk about in the athletic world, you're hearing less affairs. You noticing that? You're hearing less affairs. You're hearing more males stepping up that got money, that's got their kids' mom that loved them, that went through with them before they got the money. You're hearing about long relationships now, longer, where they're holding it down. They're being fathers, right? Right. So this recovery effort that I call of fatherhood, I think it's coming back strong, and it's gonna automatically change. It's gonna make your son's generation, which they already doing it. They seeking after OGs like me and you. They seeking out
Right.
OG females that's been through some things, that's got some shit now. You know what I'm saying? So the the art of the OGs, it hasn't died. I just think it went a little dormant, right?
Right.
The recovery came once we was able to be fathers and mothers. Because keep in mind, I
Right.
was mothers too. Because keep in mind, during our generation, there was a lot of moms that were strung out.
Yeah.
I mean, crack had no respect to person.
No. At
Because
all.
we grew up seeing how fast that shit grew.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, mom turning, you know what I mean? Like dads, good people turning because there was no
Right.
respect. So to see that now, where you see more moms and dads, and then if not, then you see more. If we talk about the father thing, when we talk
Right.
about our sons, you're seeing more single fathers that are holding it down and saying, "Okay, fuck it, I'm gonna ride this out and try to be the best dad that I can be."
Yeah. That's a good point. That's good. That's really good. Because you're absolutely correct. You know what I'm saying? Because we've, like I said before, I was telling somebody, like our fathers dropped the ball. You know what I mean? Our fathers dropped the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like we had our grandfathers, yeah, you know what I'm saying? They may had like 19 kids, like five kids up the street. three, you know what I'm saying, three next door, whatever, you know what I'm saying. But they made sure that their kids was good. And then, like I always say, in the 1968 Act, when, excuse me, Lyndon Baines Johnson introduced, how can I put it?
You said, oh,
1968, Lyndon
19,
Baines Johnson.
well, that was London. That was Lyndon, right? Lyndon B. Johnson.
No, no. Yeah, Lyndon B. Johnson, the
Okay.
president.
Yeah.
He created the Civil Rights Act to allow black people to vote because he needed the votes because he was a quote unquote Democrat, like you said before. So what he did was, and this is history, 1968. He was running for re-election because he became president when JFK got assassinated here in Dallas.
Right.
So he wanted to run for re-election and everything. So he created the Voters' Rights Act. Along with that, he created the housing, which is quote unquote the projects.
Which is what Section 8 kind of,
Right.
the
He
Fannie
created
Mae,
that. Food
Section 8
stamps.
and all that. Yeah.
So in the argument of he's basically it says that, well, women, we're gonna give you the power to have your own. We're gonna give you your house, we're gonna give you food stamps, we're gonna give you the opportunity, but you cannot have a man staying in your home.
Yep.
That was, like I said, I was born in '77, bro. So that's like 9 years removed from me. You know what I mean?
And that's a good point that you're bringing up. Just the evolution of uh, the manhood of the inner city, and then when you talk about that, it that's why I call it a fumble because a lot
Yeah,
of
that was
times
a fumble.
when you look at football, what's detrimental, it's already bad enough that whoever fumbled it, right? But when it
Right,
gets real icy, it's when the ball is on the ground and you got all these people jumping after it and nobody can hold on to it. You know what I'm saying? The ball is just, somebody, no, they don't have, that's kind of, in my mind, that's kind of what went on when you talk about the late 70s, 80s, 90s, right? Now, when did this change? And I think it was 2000s. I think that once we that survived the banging, right, and all the death and mayhem that happened doing that us, male and female, female and male said, okay, you know what? We survived. So now we're going to be
okay,
parents. We're going to be parents. So when you think about it, they say this young generation, they call them generation of entitled. They said it just this when they did research and asked these surveys that this generation, our sons and daughters, some reason or another think that they're going to get to $1 million in their lifetime, right? Uh, they also feel entitled. That's what the professionals say when they did the surveys.
right,
Well, why do they feel like that? Well, it's because of us.
right,
The way
okay,
we live, we made it our everyday thing to floss, right? To floss and gloss.
right.
What the
Big
90s
chain,
was all about.
the big chains, the hats,
Big
and the
thing, even if
shoes, and the
you didn't have
cars.
money, you was gonna
They
find
had
a knockoff and you was gonna
right,
get a brush and shine that bitch up. You remember when
right,
we only could get one Timberland, and so what we would do, we would dye the shoe in the
right,
bathroom, clean it up, and made people thought that we bought new Timberlands, but actually we didn't.
right,
See,
right.
it was all of it. If you didn't have starch, then we used flour and water.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
you had to pull that bitch apart. And it's so hard,
Yeah.
it sit it by itself. They'll stand up all night. You just look and say, yeah,
Seven out of seven. Ready to go to school the next day.
they're gonna be ready in the morning. They sitting there waiting on
Yeah.
it. But
Go.
when you think about that, man, it's such a powerful point that you're bringing up. I would say in the evolution of the jump, and think about it, all the dudes that's way younger than us, we in our 40s,
Right.
what they playing. I got so many young bucks, even here in New Mexico. I got so many young bucks out of here in New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, Nevada, Oregon, parts of Oregon. Guess what they playing? El Paso. They playing 90s music. And I was just like, man, this is shit I grew up to.
Right.
We're talking about 20-year-old, we're talking about 30-year-old. They playing 90s music.
Right.
They playing Pac, Biggie, NWA. They playing Naughty by Nature. They playing Jay-Z old shit. They playing Rockefeller. They playing Ja Rule. They Pete Pablo, Missy Elliott. They playing all the 90s all the way to the mid 2000s. They just playing all of it. They eating it.
Right.
So I don't think they not gripping the old way. I think we're not gripping or seeing that they're gripping. That's just my opinion. The same way our parents looked at us. Whoever that graced us, they thought we didn't get it.
Okay.
But actually, we did. We just did it in such a different way from them. They just thought we didn't get it. With all that death and mayhem that was happening around us, man, drive-bys, yeah. You know what I'm saying? When the number one song back then was Gangsta Lean. When you go to a funeral at your homie that was banging, and you can't even hardly see his face because they got everything inside the casket, beepers, chains, right?
Yeah.
That's what we lived through. You could actually get hit at the funeral.
Yeah.
Because the retaliator will come back to the funeral and then shoot the place.
This song dedicated to my homie in that gangster league. Yeah. And I mean, you make great points as far as the music. So let the people know what Sorey Music is doing. Let me see. Oh, okay. I think I'm gonna bring Nate on. Give me 1 minute.
You know that nigga gonna start high side your ass every time you want to bring him on. You know he gonna high side you.
Hey man. Hey, one thing he can high side about, but the one thing you can't say, nigga, I ain't fucking rich.
That's fucked up. You gonna see that.
Hey, nigga, you move to Florida, nigga. But anyways, man, I appreciate, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate artists like you, man. Like you do. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like I get caught up in. Oh, he talks to his wife right now. So, you know, I just want to say that your music has always been consistent. You know what I'm saying? Let's do a little something, man.
I knew you was gonna do that. Listen.
All right.
I've been sipping too much. You ain't gonna get me to be slopping and slipping and tap dancing around this motherfucker.
Come on, man. Let's do a little something.
On for a reason.
Yeah. Hey, like Ray Charles. Ray Charles cooked in the dark. He could fry chickens in the dark.
He was blind. I mean, what kind of argument is this? He was blind.
Let's just do a little something. I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
That is amazing. Man. He can fry
chickens. We lit.
Where did that go? Like, that disappeared like in a year. Like everybody was doing this shit.
Yeah. One of the t-shirts I made, you know what I'm saying? We lit. You know what I'm saying? So let's just do it, man. You got a little time.
Here this nigga go. This nigga always do that shit. Why you always wait till I'm fucked up and want me to do some shit?
That's the best time, man. That's the best time, brother.
Really? I'll sing a little bit, Poquito.
No, what the guitar at, man? Let's get the guitar, man.
Man, see, here you go. See, you don't care. If I fuck up, you don't care. You gonna post this shit. All right, I'm gonna get the
Listen.
guitar. Hold on. I'm gonna get the
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Einstein.
Thought I got away from it.
Yeah.
I just got this one the other day, man.
I like that. That look beautiful. Chocolate. Ooh.
Yeah. I call her Nita.
Nita Brown.
Nina. All right. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen. Fuck it. You just gonna get what you get. I mean, you know, you gonna put me on the spot like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. This bitch sound good,
Whoa, nigga. My bad. I be saying nigga. I'm trying to stop saying the word nigga.
I forgot to show you.
Man.
It's electric
Hold
and
on.
acoustic. It's electric.
Oh man. All right, so what we're gonna do right now? So what we're gonna do right now? We're gonna take a break. We're gonna take a break. Do what you need to do. Go to the restroom. I'm gonna go to the restroom, and we come right back in 60 seconds. We love y'all. We thank y'all. Everybody's on live. Thank you. We love y'all. I'll be right back.
All right.
Go ahead. We'll go ahead and play.
Just play?
Yeah. All right. Just play.
Okay. See how you doing? See how you doing? Evil. Evil. Okay, I'll stop playing. All right, hold on. Man, I don't even know. He just messed up my mojo, man. Let me see what I come up with, man. Then he gonna put me on the spot like that, goddamn. Oh man, my moonshine connect. Big ups, my moonshine connect. Whew. Lord have mercy. All right, let's see what I can come up with. Let's see. Yeah. I know you need loving. Yeah. And sometimes you need some talking about how we feel. It's everlasting, and this shit is so real. I feel. Yeah. Let's see. What else can I add to that? Let's see. I feel. Let's see. Let's see. I feel. And how I feel, baby, how I feel, ooh, yeah, I feel that. Let you know how I feel. That's crazy how I do a little funny ass little flutter riffs. Feel. All right, he's back. I still can't hear you. He got his mic on.
I said we back.
We back.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I just got through saying. I mean, I just got through doing a whole spiel.
You was explaining something.
Oh, you heard me?
Freestyle. Yeah, freestyle it. Go ahead. One more, just one more. One more. Give me a beat selection.
Beat selection. That's like a beat selection. Give me something. Yeah. This one is called Between. Between you and me, baby, it's between you and me, yeah. It's between me and you and me, between you and me. All right, I mean, I only did one line. That's
Dope. That was dope. I enjoyed that. I
how did
enjoyed
this sound,
that.
man? This sound crisp.
Oh man, that sounds amazing, man.
Yeah, that's just crisp. I still got to get used to that bottom string because my old one, my old Betty, she only got 5 strings, so it's like I had learned all them, chords on 5-string guitar. This one I used to do all my Instagrams with. Yeah, the old faithful. Yeah, this joker got something. I tell you, that one where it's as you can tell, this joker sound old. You know what I mean? Like I've been practicing on this joker so much. This is a new one I was working on. I think I did a little bit on Instagram. Oh man, I'm still working on a name for it though. Let's see. Listen to this love song. It's about you, babe. You and me. It's a nice song full of ecstasy. If you throw it, I guarantee I'll go deep. Yeah, yeah. Damn, where that nigga go again? Hey, where you at? I can't see you. Yo, I'm all alone. No one to beside me. That's why you got to have friends. Where is my friend? Hey man, you coming back? Is this just my show? Is this just my show? Is that what this is? You haul off and left me. That's how you do it sometimes. Instigator. Just an instigator. Don't you hate when you got homies like that, man? That always starts with shit off. Like I used to have a homie, man. He would ask me a question. He had narcolepsy. He would ask me a question and then fall asleep. I'd be like, what? He left me. Hey, man, what you want to get up there at McDonald's? Hey, man, I want to get a. What the fuck? This nigga fall asleep, gonna ask me a question. To fall asleep. He left me. Yo, is you back? Let's see. Tired of pain. And then don't like feeling, baby. I'm want to be yours and see. Tired of pain. Don't like me. Baby, I want to be more. Oh, now he's back.
Yeah, my bad. I don't know what happened, man. There we go.
I left you by yourself.
Yeah, there we go. My bad. I don't know what happened.
You keep disappearing, man.
I don't know what happened. Yeah, I had to restart everything.
Oh, man.
Yeah, YouTube, man, they tripping, man. You know what I'm saying? Because we speaking truth and we speaking facts.
Oh,
So
that's what it is.
yeah, so I guess they got in their feelings.
Well, I tell you what,
man. So
I done saw him twice, maybe 3 times, and I'm sure you can go back. But right now, man, I done got hungry, man. I got the munchies. I'm gonna go.
yeah, well, yeah, I got you, man. We go ahead. Hold on, whoa, I got somebody coming in.
You do?
Well, that's you.
What?
Oh, that's you. Yeah, I thought it was somebody coming in. But yeah, man, go ahead and grab something to eat, man. I appreciate you, man.
Hey, man, that was a phenomenal talk.
Yeah, it was a dope video, man.
You know how you know what I'm saying. It did that. Snuck that little music in there. Hey, man, send me that link, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna see the link. I'm gonna see the link right now. You know what I'm saying?
All right,
See the link and everything. Let's check it out. Blessings to you, my brother.
Cool to the people.
All right. Salute.
All right, now let's go.